Yo, what is going on, my people, man? This is your guy, Fran 49er. We are happy to have you with us today, man. We have action-packed show today. We're going to have Grant Cohn on. I'm waiting momentarily for Grant to go ahead and tap in. While you're here, man, go ahead and press that like and press that subscribe. Hell, if you don't like the content, press the thumbs down. You know what I mean? We're going to continue to bring this good content to you guys. And we have a lot of issues that we have to talk about today. One of the first things that I wanted to talk about was for all of the subscribers and all of the people watching this channel. I want to send a huge shout out to Regulins. He's a fan that watches the show. And as a courtesy donation to the show, he sent this bad boy. Yes, it's the all-time sack leader. It is Bryant Young. It is authorized. This is his signature. So to all the people out there who likes and subscribes and comments on all of the content, you will receive this when we reach 1,000 subs. We're not too far away from that number. So I just wanted to remind you guys to like and subscribe because you will get a chance to enter the competition and enter the drawing to actually win this. There was a good article that was written today. Let me put this guy up. There was a good article that was written today by 49ers Web Zone, and they just recently interviewed Steve Young. And Steve Young has some compelling remarks when it comes to Raheem Moser. Steve Young, his exact words were, when you go to a new team, new offense, new scheme, it might not work out as well. This reminds me of when we didn't resign Ricky Waters. You see how it worked out for him. It worked out bad for us, and it worked out for him. So I can totally understand what Steve Young is talking about. Raheem, you might want to pump your brakes. You might end up with another team where you get more money, but it might not end up such a good idea for you to do that. Now, do I think he deserves more money? I wouldn't necessarily say that. I would just go ahead and make all of his contract guaranteed money, because then he will be, protected as far as getting an injury or anything of that nature, because he does have a contract where there is no guaranteed money. How he was able to pull that off as far as Paraag goes, I don't know. Maybe Raheem Moser didn't know that his role in the offense was going to be so big this year, so he went ahead and signed that contract. So I think that was quite intriguing for anybody out there who has 49ers Web Zone. I would, recommend that you go, listen to that podcast and that interview that they had Steve Young on. Let me look in the chat, man, and see who's all here with us. I'm going to give people shout outs, man. Marco, what's up, my guy? My bro Bronze is in the chat. He's on daddy duty today. Raz Chad. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, bro, but shout out to you. Mike, what up? Big Tone, what's happening, big baby? Go-Kart Moser. I appreciate that, bro. He said Raheem gonna end up in a runaway truck lane. Yeah, man. Like I said, man, he's a good player. Do I think that, he should be asking for more money 1 year into his new contract? I don't really think that's a good idea. Steve Young also said, man, be careful what you wish for. And he also brought up the fact that George Kittle are one of those transcending players that could actually, come out and, ask for more money and have demands. But Raheem Moser just isn't one of those players. And I totally agree with that, right? Like, he outperformed what we thought he was going to do. Definitely think that he deserves a fully guaranteed contract, but not necessarily, more money. And Tony has a quote right here, and he says, I have no problem changing language and giving him some guarantees. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying right now, bro. I have no problem with giving him a fully guaranteed contract. That means no matter what happens, regardless if you get injured or COVID-19 and they cancel games, you're going to get your money. And I think that he's well worth that. And they're going to figure some things out. I also want to talk about how the impact of the content that you do for these teams always impact people, and you never know who's watching. So yesterday, as you guys know, we did a show with Jason Aponte, and we broke down film with Jaquiski Tartt, and we mirrored that with film from Jamal Adams. And we didn't necessarily compare the two. We just wanted to see, what those guys would bring to the team and what we would lose if Jaquiski Tartt leaves and what we would gain if Jaquiski stays with the team. And this morning I had just got home from the gym and I got a friend request from Mr. Jaquiski Tartt himself. See how managers and PR works, bro. They go on all of these platforms, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, blog sites, or whatever, and they type in, their clients' names, and they look at, what's the post of the people? What are people saying about their client? And it just happens to be, man, that he came across our platform and that he watched the whole show. And, it's an honor, man, to have, a player that we just recently talked about actually, request me, and, we know that he watched our content. That's really important to me. And I want to send a huge shout out to Jason Aponte for doing that. And Grant is saying that I have not sent him the link, which I'm pretty sure that I did. So what I'm going to do right now is tell him to check his email because I'm pretty sure I sent that damn link. I know I did for sure. Yeah, I know I sent that link out. How's it going, Trey? Man, I'm doing pretty good, bro. Just happy to be here with you guys today. Trying to get Grant on. Let's see. Let me type bronze. Yeah, man. So what's going on with the people out there, man? How y'all feeling today? How's your day going? Mine's is going great. I had a good workout. Found out Jaquiski watched the episode yesterday, came home, did some ins and outs, and everything was good. Okay, now we have the man here himself, Mr. Grant Cohn. Grant.
Are you the guy that Jaquiski Tartt followed on Twitter?
Yeah, bro, I was stoked.
That's you.
I was sparked, bro.
I was smart too.
I was sparked. Nice. Yeah, man. I could have went back to the gym and did another hour. You know what I mean? I was sparked, man. So how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing awesome, man. It's sunny, 85-degree weather in the Northwest today, man. I cannot complain.
I expect you to get in those Jaquiski Tartt DMs and have him on this show next week. I expect you to make that happen, Trey.
Yeah, man. He's not so much of a camera guy. So I think we're going to figure out, I think we're just going to have him on and try to do something to where he doesn't show his face, but, you could hear his voice.
I feel it.
Yeah,
All
man.
Right, man.
Yeah, man. So we're going to talk a lot about George Kittle, and we're going to talk about Paraag Get today.
Love it. Let's do it.
So as far as Paraag Get does, like he does a lot of good things for the franchise, right? And we can make an argument that really what his job is not to cater to the players, but it's to cater to the franchise and the Yorks. Right?
The Yorks.
Exactly. He is trying to get the best possible deal that he possibly can for the franchise. And that doesn't mean that the player is always going to get the best deal. Hence the Raheem Mostert deal. Raheem Mostert, I didn't know that he had $0 guaranteed on his contract.
Zero.
And I think he signed that contract because he didn't know that his role was going to be surplus as far as getting that much carries and being that big of an impact on the 49ers offense, right?
Plus, he had 41 career carries. He didn't have much he could really leverage in negotiations, but yes.
Exactly. And when you look at that type of contract for a special teams ace, $9 million for 3 years is not bad. It's like if you're an active gunner, that means every 4 games you're going to make $1 million, right? So
that's for running down the field like 4 or 5 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And some of the time there's a fair catch and you just ran,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good contract. Now what we've seen with and this isn't something that's happened since Paraag Marathe has been here. It's something that just recently happened, and that was with DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead. We've seen a top tier, I would say top 5 defensive linemen in the league at the 3 technique. We've seen him be traded because he wanted too much money.
Right.
Do you think that this is going to be something that happens on a regular basis with Paraag Marathe? And is he getting in the way of us re-signing top tier players?
It seems to be the pattern. I think so. What I see from Paraag Marathe is he's a little bit like Billy Beane. I mean, he's great at what he does. He protects the 49ers. He makes sure they're never in salary cap hell, which is what they were in before he came into the organization. So exactly. For what he was hired to do, he does it perfectly. And if you're negotiating with players who are mid-level or even above that, guys who are really good, but they just came off an injury, or they only had one good year, they don't have the longevity. He does a great job of giving them a contract that makes them feel important, but also protecting the team. Like they did that with Colin Kaepernick. They gave him a big extension after like a season and a half.
Right.
And Kaepernick could say he was the highest paid player in the league, but when you really looked at the fine print, the Niners protected themselves and it was year to year. And that's the pattern with Paraag every time. He gives out a big deal. People say, oh my God, did the Niners overpay? And they're like, wait, let's see what Paraag did. Then you see that he protected the Niners and you end up applauding Paraag. And there's this whole like Paraag cult fan base.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? So he does a good job with every player. But my theory is you can't pull those the Paraag tricks, the things that he does to win the negotiations on most players. You can't do that with George Kittle or DeForest Buckner. You can do it with Jimmy Garoppolo because they signed him after 7 career starts. So they could give him a lot of bonuses and whatever, but then say like, we're going to go year to year after year 2. You can't get George Kittle to agree to something like that, or DeForest Buckner. If you really want the best players in the league and guys who have proven it over a long period of time, guys who have proven that they're durable, leaders, responsible, not going to get in trouble, you just kind of have to give them what they're worth, because if you're not willing to, some other team is. And I don't think – I have a feeling Paraag Marathe just hates losing deals like that. He would rather trade a player like DeForest Buckner than to give him what he wants. He would rather work over a guy like Eric Armstead, because Armstead really doesn't have much to negotiate. He had 1 good year. So if the Niners give him something, he basically has to say thank you.
So the guaranteed money on Eric Armstead's contract, I believe, wasn't it 40 guaranteed?
Let me check it out real quick.
Yeah, I believe he got the 85 and the guaranteed 40 over 5 or 6. I can't remember exactly. Let's see what the exact numbers are.
Let me tell you right now.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, I think there's like a 6th year that's like kind of doesn't really count.
Right.
Because okay. Guaranteed money. What are we talking about here? There's not a lot, actually. Now that I notice, he has 0 guaranteed money in his salary, in his contract after 2021. How about that?
So what was this guaranteed? What was this?
$9 million. Armstead got 9. See what I'm saying? This is Paraag Marathe. When you really look at the details of these contracts, he works these players over, man. And Armstead, what's he gonna do? Hold out for more? How? What arguments he gonna make? He had 1 good year, so he gets to tell everyone, man, I got an $85 million contract, and I'm making $17 million a year. Actually, you have $9 million guaranteed, Eric.
So that means he got the $9 million guaranteed at signing, but he's still going to make $17 million this year and 17 next year. So if you add that up, that's 34 plus 9. He's getting over 40 guaranteed.
Well, he's got per game roster bonuses. He's got workout bonuses.
Okay.
And if they cut him, they take on big dead cap hits the entire way. So it looks like they're kind of locked into him. Exactly. Yep.
So he has a pretty good contract. That means that, and for the people out there who don't know what the dead cap hit is, that means that even if we cut him or trade him, we could be like the Rams paying Cooks $15 million just not to play on their franchise this year. That's something that you necessarily don't want to do.
Right.
With that being said, We did see, players that came in that we traded for get some good contracts. Do you think that this is necessarily going to get in the way of players like DJ Jones or Fred Warner? Those type of guys?
That's a good question. Fred Warner, I don't know, because linebackers aren't a particularly expensive position. Kind of like tight ends. I don't think Fred Warner is going to hold out for $17 million a year. I think they should be able to re-sign him, but I'm wondering about Nick Bosa. It's a couple years down the line, but he's going to want more money than DeForest Buckner wanted. I mean, unless he gets hurt. If he gets hurt and misses a season, then Paraag Get can come in and do what he does best. But if he doesn't, and he plays let's say he plays the next 2 seasons just as good as this last season, misses 1 or 2 games, he'll be able to ask for $23-24 million a year given inflation. And what's Paraag going to do then? I don't know.
But the thing is, with the new CBA and, probably the CBA money probably is not going to come next year. Like, the salary cap is going to stay what it is. We're looking at having $61 million, I believe, if you add the money from the $12 million that was supposed to go to Joe Staley. So we're not in a bad space with salary cap. But when they see that salary cap increase, I don't think that Paraag is going to be so hell bent on making sure that he gets the best possible deal for the team because of A, Bosa's importance, and B, we have new money to work with. It's the new CBA. Like, they're going to get flooded with some new cash.
There's a bunch of good points you just made. All I'm saying is I feel like it's an ego thing with Paraag. He needs to win. Needs to win the deal. Needs to make the contract team friendly. And I don't think he can bear to sign off on a contract that's player friendly on a scale of 20, 21, 23, $22 million a year. He'll give Kyle Juszczyk a player friendly deal, but that's like low stakes. It's a fullback. You see what I'm saying? I think when you start getting into the stratosphere of very, very expensive contracts, Paraag's going to look to protect the 49ers in every single way he can. And he did that with Colin Kaepernick. He did it with Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe I'm missing an example of a huge contract the Niners gave out and basically didn't protect themselves at all and said, we're doing this on faith. We believe in you and trust in you. We'll see what happens over the next. I can't remember them ever doing that.
Yeah. And, if you look at the Armstead contract, he didn't necessarily, protect the team. If you're looking at the guaranteed money, yeah, but the salary cap hits.
That's true.
That means that, hey, we're locked in with this guy because we're not trying to pay him not to be on this franchise. That makes zero sense at all.
That's right. 2023, his dead cap hit is $11.5 million. He's not going anywhere. So what they did was Buckner would have been more expensive in the short term. Buckner, I guess, wanted a front-loaded deal. Armstead was cool with a backloaded deal.
Exactly.
And I think that was appealing to the 49ers because they really think that they can win the Super Bowl this year with basically the same team that they had last year. So I think they just didn't want to keep Buckner and then fill in free safety and defensive end. Because if you keep Buckner, you lose Ward and Armstead.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem losing Ward because you might lose Ward anyway in training camp because he always gets hurt. So, but you understand? But yeah, I think that was the calculation they made.
Okay, so we have a comment right here. And it says less about winning and more about doing his job well.
Who? Paraag?
Yeah. This is from
less about winning than doing his. Yeah, I think so. I think there needs to be someone over Paraag being like, I think you're missing the big picture here, Paraag. You're great at what you do. But with players like Buckner and Kittle, I think you might need a different approach. Because you're not going to win those negotiations. You're not. You just can't. Yeah. Because look, you go to Buckner and you tell him, hey, man, we know you think you're worth 21, but we're just going to stop at 18. Why would Buckner agree to that?
Right.
He's not from California. He knows other teams would pay him. So to him, it's just kind of a slap in the face.
Yeah.
I
don't know, man. And I just hope that, people can put their pride aside and do what's best for the team. And I think that you could still do what's best for the player and do what's best for the team at the same time, because you can totally say, we're not going to pay that and trade away a player. But, what are you giving up in order to achieve what your goal is? And we don't necessarily want to give up too many top-notch players because then we become a middle-of-the-pack team. And that's not what we're trying to do. I kind of enjoyed last season. I want to continue the success. I
feel like it's the Khalil Mack fallout. Like when the Raiders traded Khalil Mack, head exploded. Like, how do you trade someone like that? You're supposed to be thanking God when you get a guy like that, because even if you have a top 3 pick or a top 5 pick, there's no guarantee you get Khalil Mack. And so, the once every 20 years you get a guy like that in your roster, you're supposed to be thankful, give him whatever he wants, retire his jersey, and thank him. But it seems like teams don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
The Raiders made a decision with Cooper and Mack, and now the Niners did it with Buckner. And how far does it go? I think teams are going to start doing it with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
As players start getting 20, 25, 30, you really got to think about it. And I just feel like I understand why the Raiders did it. I understand why the Niners did it. But I think I'm just old school. And I feel like I'd be more like the Chiefs, who were like, you know what? Let's make sure we have Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, our pillars, our best players, and we'll figure out the rest. We'll figure out running back. We'll figure out offensive line. But maybe they're short-sighted and maybe they're wrong.
Yeah, I think they kind of short-sighted because them motherfuckers got $177 in the tank right now. They about to have overdraft fees. Hard time.
177, not 178.
That's crazy, bro.
I know.
All right, man. So let's move on and talk about this George Kittle debacle. It's been a lot of chirps, been a lot of whispers. The birds are chirping, agents are talking, sources are talking, people are walking, people sliding in the DMs. So Matt Barr, today he was on the ESPN Fresno, right?
Oh, he was. Nice and good.
And I listened in, and I thought that he was going to drop some bombs, and that's not exactly what happened. He said like 2 things that I could pick out that I actually took notes on. The first thing was George Kittle's camp is basically saying they are trying to live in the $14 to $15 million range. And he said that his camp said that. He basically said that he talked to his agent and people from his team, and that's the range that they're trying to live in right now, right? Okay. And
I like Matt Barr, but why is George Kittle's camp? Why are they? Why would George Kittle's? I like Matt Barr, and I don't think he's lying. But why would George Kittle be leaking information to bloggers? How does that help him in any way?
Dude, I have no idea, bro. I'm just saying what I said.
It feels like a game of telephone that people are passing along. But I'm not questioning Matt Barr's integrity. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. It just, look, I called Kittle's agent, Jack Becta. It was Jim Harbaugh's agent at Stanford. He said real clear, Grant, I'm not going to talk about this on the record or off the record, but if there's anything else you want to talk about, hit me up. So maybe some other people have gotten like an end around and are talking to like Kittle's mom or Kittle's dog or something. But I just feel like it's not in Kittle's interest to be leaking stuff because the Niners aren't. It's just not in their interest to be leaking stuff. But again, I'm not questioning Matt. I just find it interesting. Maybe they are leaking stuff, in which case I think they should really stop. Because their agent doesn't seem to want to do that.
Yeah. Also heard that the agent is let's just say he's a hurdle that Paraag Get is going to have to get over. Okay.
Yeah.
The second thing that was said was the camp is looking for loopholes in the new CBA, basically saying that they might be looking into holding out so the Niners aren't able to slap the exclusive tag on George Kittle. Only thing is, he misses a whole year's worth of money, right?
Okay.
And
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
conflicting because George already came out and said, I'm a leader. I want to be there for my team. I'm not
already said.
Right. But
you can franchise tag restricted free agents. You can. Hey, if someone on in this chat wants to correct me, I'm reasonably certain you can still franchise tag restricted free agents. So I don't think there is a loophole in there for him. But if they find it, God love them, man. Because I'm always on the player side, and I think the whole rookie wage scale is whack. Really, I think it's collusion against players. And if guys outperform their deal, they shouldn't have to stick on some for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean they did that. I think the new that new rookie rule is basically the Jamarcus Russell rule, like the quarterback from LSU, where
it was absolutely
they gave him $60 million and he was sipping lean and ended up getting caught with like 50 gallons of lean, bro. Like, it was an astronomical number. It was like, bro, like it was like he was signing a prescription his damn self, right?
Yes.
And that was pretty bad. And I think the NFL was like, okay, we can't do this no more. And Jamarcus, like, you effed it up for everybody else, man.
He
like,
really did. It was Jamarcus's fault.
It was his fault, bro. That's the Jamarcus.
And the purple drink.
Yeah, and the purple drink. Yeah, that was back when they had that activist. That was back when they had that real stuff, man. Yeah, man. You know, how do I want to frame this?
Well, here, let me ask you with Kittle. I mean, we're all over here talking about what should they give him? What should they do? What's the right thing to do? What's going to happen, Dre? How do you see this playing out? Best prediction.
They're going to sign Kittle, bro. Like, I think it's because one thing I love about this franchise, and this is not just me being a homer. Like, okay, yes, I'm a 49er homer. To everybody out there watching, I'm a 49er homer, right? Sometimes I give us more credit than we deserve because I'm just that much of a fanatic. But we are so good, or should I say this franchise is so good at not leaking shit. You don't know when anything is about to happen. Mm-hmm. Usually with other franchises, like when a big player is about to get traded, like you hear something. When a contract is about to happen, you hear something. Like you don't hear shit. I was amazed that nothing leaked out about DeForest Buckner getting traded. Like nobody knew that this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the same thing with Kittle. There's nothing coming out, so everybody is going out on a limb and making their own predictions. Yep. Everybody is sliding in DMs.
Yeah,
people are being told, you know, certain information.
Yep,
it might not even be true. Just
it's hard to know.
Yeah, and so you know, he's just too good of a player to say we're not going to pay. I believe they're going to pay him.
Okay, well, let me ask you a follow-up. When? This year, next year?
I don't think it happens this season.
I agree with you on that. I don't think it happens this season.
Dude. I just
for
don't.
The same reason it didn't happen for Buckner last season.
Yeah, I just don't.
I think the Niners' attitude is, look, if you're a third-year player trying to get that extension before your rookie contract is up, then you're going to have to give us a discount. You're going to have to make it worth our while. Otherwise, we got the leverage. It's a business. Rules are on our side. Wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It's going to happen next year. But I'm going to disagree. I think they trade him. Not to be pessimistic, I just don't see what's different about this situation than what happened with Buckner last year. To me, it seems like a total repeat. If someone can point out like a difference, I'd love to hear it.
I think that the thing is with DeForest Buckner, you have Eric Armstead, and you already had a plan in place to get probably the best defensive. I think he's better than Derrick Brown. That's just me.
Kinlaw? Okay.
Yes, I think he's better than Derrick Brown. So, Well,
that's okay. We can come back to that another time. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we can talk about that. I think
another time.
So they already had that in place, and you have Eric Armstead. Mm-hmm. You don't have that with George Kittle. Mm-hmm. Charlie Warner, he was the best blocking tight end in college football, but we don't know how he's going to produce on the field. Mm-hmm. Ross Dwelley, he only had 15 receptions last year. Even though, like, some of them were like amazing catches. Like Ross was getting his head blown off, literally, and the tacklers were getting flags for head-to-head contact, and he was still catching the ball, right? But you don't have anybody to replace the production of George Kittle, so you're in a much different situation.
Well, the only thing I would say is like for the scenario to play out the way I'm expecting or guessing, they would be trading Kittle for a first-round pick that they would use on a tight end. That dude from Penn State. I don't know how familiar you are with him, but apparently he's.
Wow, I got his name written right here.
I don't know how to pronounce it. There's a lot of E's and I's.
Hey, Pat Frymuth. They call him
something like that.
Gronk.
Yeah.
PATFREIMUTH. You guys look up his film, of course, after watching this lovely stream. He is a monster. There's another guy from Florida. His name is Kyle Pitts, 6'6", 234. Bro, there's some good tight ends in this draft. They're elite tight ends. Like those two guys I would take in the mid-first round. Or
that's what I'm saying. And they're going to be cheaper and young. You know, George Kittle turns 27 in October. 27.
Yeah.
He's older than Buckner.
So
look, I just can see the Niners being like, well, do we want to give George Kittle $17 million a year or 16?
Right.
Or trade him and get, use that money on other stuff and get someone who's almost as good and younger at tight end? It's look, if they could convince themselves that they could move on from Buckner, I don't think the next logical leap is they could do it with Kittle too.
Nah, bro, Buckner's not a Kittle. He's good, but
and from Kyle's perspective, I'm replacing a 5th round pick that I basically created with the 1st round stud.
There's no doubt in my mind that Kyle. I don't want to say this wrong because I know people are tuning in, and I don't want to piss anybody off, especially not George.
Yeah, just say it in a nice way. But I know
what I will say is Kyle feels like he played a big role in Kittle being who he is,
and he did
a huge role. That's what
he did. Yeah,
right. And for that, I think that he's saying, okay, we have $12 million left in cap space. I think all the rookies are signed by now. We might want to make a trade deadline trade that we could possibly see happening in the foreseeable future during the season, right? And he's saying, George, like, this is what our plan is, and this is probably what we're going to do to bolster our roster. And either we can get you done right now, but it might not help our roster in the long run for this year, but we're going to get you done at the end of this year. That's what I could possibly see. I don't know, but shit, we never know. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like in the midst of training camp, you see a heading, breaking news, George Kittle gets his contract, bro. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Because
okay, let me go conspiracy theory. Look, this is how I see it. Okay.
This is Grant Cohn's conspiracy theory.
Okay. So Buckner comes in last year and asks for 21. The Niners say 18, and they say, well, you know what? Let's just put this on hold and renegotiate at the end of the year. So what do the Niners do? I think the Niners, I don't know, it's a serious conspiracy theory. But I think when you're in a position like that, subconsciously, you're trying to drive his price down so you can keep him. So what does Buckner have? He has his worst year one of his worst years in terms of sacks. He's constantly in the A gap. He's constantly being asked to take on double teams and let other people get featured. And I think the Niners were hoping maybe if he only had, I know it's terrible to say, right? Because I'm telling you, I know for a fact that back in the 80s, the original contract dispute was between Marcus Allen and Al Davis. Marcus Allen wanted like an extra $1 million back in the 80s, and Al Davis was like, are you kidding me? He took it personally and basically held it against Marcus Allen the rest of his career. And he would tell coaches, like, I don't want to see him celebrating touchdowns in the LA Times. I just don't want to see it. So when you're at the 5-yard line, you better not call his number. Things like that happen in the NFL. You think it wouldn't because it's all about winning, but it's a business too, and some really shady stuff goes on. So I'm not saying that Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh were trying to be like, hey, like, let's cap Buckner at 6.5 sacks. But you wonder, and you wonder with Mostert, it's like, yo, this guy's really playing well. He's going to ask for some more money. Make sure you don't start him or really give him that many carries near the goal line. And he just ends up scoring a bunch of touchdowns from 20 yards out. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if next year Kittle just doesn't get quite as many catches. Like they start throwing more to Kyle Juszczyk or Jerick McKinnon or Brandon Ayuk just gets a ton of targets or Debo does. And they just try to bring it down a little bit like, hey, well, now you're coming off a season where you had 65 catches and 900 yards. Like
you are.
Do you kind of see where we're coming from with this $13 million offer? That's probably wrong, right? But that's how my mind works, man. I don't trust these teams. I do not trust these teams.
Bro, you are the most cynical fucking person. I love it, bro. Grant, that's right. Some knowledge. I never knew that about Marcus Allen and Al Davis. Like, I never knew that. There is that. You just blew my mind with that. That's crazy.
It's some petty stuff, but it's big business, man, and millions are at stake. So if the Niners feel like, okay, well, we'll come back to the negotiating table in a year, maybe they can just they're still going to use Kittle. He'll still be their main blocker. They'll still throw him the ball. But haven't you noticed that he's only caught 12 touchdown passes in 3 seasons? What's that about? No, is that Kittle's fault? It shouldn't be Kittle's fault.
Last year, he had 5 touchdowns called back for penalties.
I know. That's crazy. Imagine if he hadn't gotten called back, how much money he'd be asking for right now.
Oh, my God. It would be crazy. It would be crazy. I mean, I just think, man, with a talent like that, they're not going to let him go. I wish that I could say,
yeah.
I really, really, really wish that I could say who I talked to and what they said. Right?
Don't do it though, because you are an up and coming journalist. Jaquaski Tart follows you on Twitter, man. Yeah. You're about to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so you got to keep those sources.
Yeah, I got to keep them.
You got to, man. Part of the deal.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Now, do you think? Okay, we're gonna. All right. All right. First, we'll talk about the agent.
All right.
Do you think that the agent is kind of getting in the way of Kittle signing his deal by asking too much? Because, bro, let's be honest. Like, 17 million.
Here's the thing.
Kittle is the best tight end in the world. I won't say in the league, in the world, but is he $8 million better than Travis Kelce? Because that's what everybody's going to look at. Is he $7 million better than Austin Cooper?
Well, the other way to look at it is he a top 5 player in the league regardless of position? Top 10.
No, he is, but how they do rosters.
I know. So here, look at it this way. Say you're an agent, right? You're an agent, and you want to have those top tier clients, guys like Kittle and Buckner. Right. To get clients like that, your sales pitch isn't going to be, hey, hire me so I can give the 49ers the deal they want. Your sales pitch is going to be, the reason you need to hire me is because I'm the guy who's going to get you everything you're worth. Don't hire these inexperienced losers because they're going to fail in the negotiation against Paraag, because Parag's good. I've worked against him before. He's tough. You need me because I'm the guy who can actually get you the money that you're worth. That's how these agents pitch themselves to the best clients. And if you're not making that pitch, then the player's going to go with someone else who is. So he was hired for one job to get Kittle what he's worth. And if he can't get it done, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to say Kittle's going to fire his agent, but he knows why he was hired. He knows why he was hired. That's what happens.
Yeah.
If an agent feels like, hey man, I can't do it, then the player's like, well, then you're not good enough. Let me try someone else. Right. And Kittle, Jack Becht is a good agent, but he's not the same as Buckner. Buckner had Joel Siegel, who's like the guy. What's interesting is that Armstead has Joel Siegel too. How did Joel Siegel work that out between Buckner and Armstead? Did you know that they have the same agent?
Yeah, I know that, bro.
I wonder how they did that. Anyway, that would Jack Becht. You look at him. He doesn't have any other all-pro clients like this. This is his crown jewel. And for him to keep Kittle, I don't think he can just go back to Kittle and be like, hey, man, I tried. They're not going for it. Sorry, let's just take what they want. Like, no, man, you're supposed to be a power agent. Like, let's see what you got.
Right.
You're supposed to be Jerry Maguire. Make it happen.
Right. Show me the fucking money.
Show me the money, man. Yeah.
I honestly think that Kittle, well, damn it, I can't say that. But what I can say is Kittle loves being a 49er. And
I think the Niners love him. I mean, they profit off of him. They sell his likeness, his jersey. It's a big part of their money-making structure.
Yeah.
Buckner wasn't.
Most definitely. So another thing that I was thinking about, right? We see this happen with a lot of guys, not just in NFL football, but then especially in the MLB, it happens a lot. In basketball, it tends to happen a lot. Players don't get the surgeries that they necessarily need, and you don't hear about those injuries, and you might hear about them a little bit, and then as soon as they get that big contract, they have that surgery. With Kittle, we know that John Lynch came out and said himself that he basically fractured his ankle and the bone chipped off, and it was like a piece of tree bark.
Right.
Also, he has the torn labrum.
Shoulder.
He has not had surgery on that, right?
Right.
And the 49ers know as soon as he gets that contract, he's going to have surgery to get that stuff replaced. I mean, to get that stuff repaired. And I can't necessarily not blame them for saying, George, like, we know what the deal is, right? Like, it happens with all of the big players. We know that we're not going to have you for 6 to 8 months. Like, and labrums, guys out there who's watching, ladies and gentlemen, should I say, labrums aren't something you just come back from. It's not going to be like, a Quan Alexander where you tear your pec and you can come back, you get the antler spray and you come back.
Wasn't that Kittle? Kaepernick in 2016. I mean, he had all those surgeries and came back like 20 pounds lighter. Remember that? He was never really in shape for that season. He played well. Right. He played all right, but he was 20 pounds lighter because he had to spend the entire offseason rehabbing and not lifting. And Kittle is like the most maniacal offseason lifter in the league. If he has these surgeries, he won't be himself.
Exactly. So, I guarantee that's a huge bargaining chip. And it's not just for the Niners. Other teams are going to look at that too. And they're going to be like, look, George, like, we're probably going to miss you for half a season. Like, and you're going to be basically by the end of the season, you'll be 29, 30. Like, people have to look at this stuff and see, like, man, there could be some causes for concern, especially with that labrum.
He plays a very physical style of football, both as a blocker and after the catch. Exactly. And I think it's he may, who knows? I mean, look at Gronkowski, right? The league just took him out. Yeah. They went after his knees. He had back surgeries. I hope that doesn't happen to George Kittle, but I think that might be part of the reason that tight ends get less money is because they're seen as playing, being at risk of getting injury, like running backs.
Exactly. Yeah, man. And so I think that's a huge bargaining tip too, because I guarantee you George wants to have that surgery, but he knows if he has that surgery, that's longer that he's going to have to sit out and possibly miss out on getting that production on the field, which is going to get him the most bang for his buck.
He's trying to do everything in his possible, get the biggest contract he can next year.
And George is, and this is the thing that George is going to be the highest paid tight end of all time. When he gets the contract.
No question.
I don't care what anybody says. Like, that's going to happen. If you had to do it in a percentage wise, what are the chances that we re-sign Kittle or he gets traded? And don't be so freaking cynical.
I think it's 50-50. I'm being cynical saying they're going to trade him, but I really think it's 50-50. I think it could go either way. And I think it might be the kind of thing where Jed York might have to step in at the very end and be like, you know what? He's bigger than just a football player. We market him. We profit off of him. We need him. He's the face of our franchise even more than Jimmy. Get it done. Get it done. I'm the owner of this team. I want it. They could come to that because I don't think Jed York cared about DeForest Buckner. If the coaches said he's replaceable, then he's replaceable. But Kittle, it's so much more than what he does on the field.
Exactly. So, and I could totally agree with you, man. I really think that this is going to be a time where Jed says, like, hey, I'll step back. I'll let you guys handle everything. But with this one, I'm taking the rank right here.
Yep.
Make sure that Kittle gets his deal. I just don't, I don't think he gets traded.
I hope he doesn't because I really like covering him. He's the best. I mean, he's the best in every way. He's fun to watch play. He's fun to cover. And he should retire as a 49er. They drafted him. Exactly. They developed him. Don't get cute. Just keep him, man. And then retire his number at the end of his career.
Exactly. Yeah. There's, and I want to talk about this subject, man. There is a trending Pay George Kittle, the hashtag Pay George Kittle.
Didn't even Trent Taylor post that out?
Supposedly it's somebody that was close to Kittle who started that trend.
Interesting.
Yeah. My whole thing is I'm kind of getting irritated seeing this shit. It's like, do you think that John Lynch or Paraag Get or Jed York gives a fuck about you guys tweeting Pay George Kittle? Like, they don't care. They do not care about your tweets. They don't care. Like,
well, I think that would indicate a position of weakness. If they're at the level of, hey, man, whisper to your friends to start a hashtag movement, that must means they've exhausted every other angle and it ain't working out. So to me, that's like the last ditch move. It's like, hey, maybe we can start like a fan uprising and fans will be so outraged that the league, that the team will change their mind. Unless the fans can get a plane to fly over Levi's Stadium with a banner saying Pay George Kittle, I don't think it's going to work.
Nah, bro. Like, it's just like, you could tweet it as much as you want, but there's so much that goes into these contracts, man. These contracts could be 20, 25 pages long. Like, they don't care about you tweeting that. If anything, it would irritate the shit out of me if I was a general manager. Like, all right, y'all want to tweet Pay George? All right, just for that, we're going to wait longer. Like,
well, here's the thing. I think these players really want to get paid before this season because say the season gets canceled, unlikely but possible, then where do you stand? Where do you stand? You only have 3 accrued seasons. Are you even a free agent? I think there could be some weird things if there are no games. Do you even get paid? Here's the thing. If there are no games, you don't get paid because your base salary are game checks. You get them paid once a week. You don't get paid throughout the year. You get paid in game checks. So if there's no season, there's no money. So I think a lot of these players give me the money now. I want the extension. I want the signing bonus. I want money now because God knows what could happen next year.
Yeah, man. And
what happened this year? I may get $0 this year.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with that being said, bro, I just think that they find a way, to get it done, man. It was good. I was happy to see some other big name guys get big contracts. It might have sent a message to them like, hey, things might be looking a little better than we thought. Some guys got some big money just yesterday. And it might ease up a little tension on the franchise, and make them, go ahead and get this deal done.
Yeah.
Other league news, man. Myles Garrett, 5 years, 125 million. What
See,
is
these
that?
deals are starting to happen, man. Derrick Henry, Myles Garrett, Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
They're starting to happen.
Exactly.
So if I were Kittle, each time someone happened, I'd be like,
right.
And not me.
Yeah, exactly.
Not me.
Exactly. And, I basically said that to say Myles Garrett is good. Do I think that he's a technician like Bosa? No. So what does that mean?
He's a better athlete, though.
He's a better, of course. He's probably one of the best athletes in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you could gauge, what do you think Bosa is going to be asking for?
More than that. More than that. That's what I'm saying, man. And this is gonna. Nick Bosa is knows the business as well as any player in the league. His dad was in the league. His brother's in the league. These guys do not give teams discounts, man. They know they're the best, and they're basically like, look, I'm happy to play for your team, but you got to make it worth my while. I just don't see Nick Bosa being like, man, I just love the Bay Area, man. I love
he held out fucking to wait for his deal, like his first deal to get signed. Like
that's right. Like Joey Bosa. So it's going to be really expensive.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be weird if the Niners all of a sudden be down to pay that for Nick Bosa, but not to Forrest Buckner. But maybe they say a defensive end is more valuable than a defensive tackle. Although I feel like they're both valuable. I mean, I don't know.
You think that DeForest Buckner is as valuable as Nick Bosa?
Well, last year I actually did. But Bosa's younger, and maybe Bosa has a better future ahead of him. But the way I saw it last year was teams really treated Bosa like a rookie the first 6 games, which was dumb because he was on such a tear. Like he had 7 sacks the first 6 games, right?
He was getting double teamed by the time we played the Browns. Like he was getting double and triple teamed.
Well, I'm just saying what I saw when I was watching the coach's film was that the first half of the year when he got 7 sacks, a lot of those sacks were coming against like the lower tier offensive tackles, and he was still like the doubles were still mostly going to D Ford. And then the second half of the year, people were like, all right, we got to treat this guy like he's an all-pro. And he still played really well and impacted every single game. But I thought Buckner did too. I thought they both were really great last year. I don't know. It's hard to really pick between them. They both were great.
Yeah. All right, bro. This is another reason why I think Raheem Mosert's not going to get any more money. Projected free agents in the 2021 season. I'm going to read them out to you guys. Todd Gurley, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Kareem Hunt, Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette. He doesn't fit the system, but he's going to be free agent. Marlon Mack, Kenyon Drake, and the last one I really like, Philip Lindsay.
Oof.
Bro, that is deep. Is all that is deep. That's ocean deep. That's Pacific and Atlantic Ocean deep. And this is just another reason why I don't think that Raheem Mostert, like, bro, you're not sitting in a good place right now.
He's in a terrible place. I feel bad for him. There's no way to look at it where you can say he has leverage. If he just does this or that, he's got leverage. He got nothing.
Exactly.
Which is because that's what I don't like. Because with Kittle, it's fun to talk about the Kittle situation, but we know it's going to be a happy ending for him one way or another. He seems like he's disappointed and wants his money now, and I'd feel the same way. But eventually, he'll be making 14, 15 million a year. It's going to happen, and he'll live happily ever after.
Right.
But Mostert, not necessarily. Like he'll be an unrestricted free agent when he's 30. Then he'll be a 30-year-old running back, and how much money is he really going to get? Even if he is great the next 2 years.
Exactly.
It's possible that he actually could have a very short career and not make very much money and kind of, have to look for another job and so that's why I feel a little bit more passionate about that topic, because I feel like there's just more on the line. With Kittle, it's like
we know he's going to get his money.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's like I would consider him a 49ers legend.
Right.
He came through in the NFC Championship game, and every 49ers fan will remember that forever.
Right.
At least the ones who saw it.
Right.
He shouldn't have to have a second job after he retires.
Exactly.
He shouldn't have to work at Toyota of Fremont, or he shouldn't have to work as like a real estate guy. That stinks. And it'd be so easy for the Niners to just give him like, hey man, we'll just guarantee your salary and give you an extra $1 or $2 million.
Exactly.
Because you came through for us. So, and we understand like this isn't setting a precedent for other players. This is just for you.
Yeah.
And like let's come back to the Chiefs. The Chiefs have $177 of salary cap space.
Right.
Niners are more than 12 million. It's not a cap space issue.
Right.
It's a principal issue. It's a Paraag Get issue. And that's why I don't sympathize with the 49ers. You could take it down to $177. There's no problem. Just make your running back happy because you need him, man. You know you do.
Yeah. And the 49er Web Zone, there was an interview with Steve Young, right? And he kind of spoke some facts that people forget about. If you're a real 49er fan, you guys will remember this. He said one of the biggest mistakes we made, well, he's comparing this to, what happened. He said one of the biggest mistakes we made was letting go of Ricky Waters. And Ricky was glad to go. I'll prove you guys wrong. I'll go to Philadelphia. And you know what? The worst thing that happened was for Ricky, he didn't get another Super Bowl, and we didn't either.
Yep.
When Ricky separated, that was worse for both sides. And another quote is, if you're not George Kittle and you're on this team and you think you can pressure this team, I think you will beat yourself in the head, and you're going to have to find another job elsewhere. I think I would be very careful. Yep. Steve Young spoke some facts. I forgot about that contract dispute with Ricky Waters, bro.
Let's go back into history. He's so right. And I think this applies to Raheem Mostert too. Before Ricky Waters, it was Roger Craig for a long time, and it was Bill Walsh's team. Then Walsh retires, George Seifert comes in, and they get rid of Roger Craig. He goes to the Raiders.
Right.
Because they also got rid of Ronnie Lott. But there was no replacement for Roger Craig for a couple of years. And the Niners didn't win a Super Bowl for a while.
Nope.
And that was back when my dad and Bill Walsh would talk a lot on the phone. And Bill Walsh would call my dad and say, Lowell, where's the freaking running back? Except not using the word freaky. It's an important position, even though it's thought to be a dime a dozen. If you have a good one, you can't let him go. And as soon as they got Ricky Waters, all of a sudden they're back, they're champions, then they let him go. Who was the replacement? Do you remember like Derek LaVille? If I remember correctly, 1995. It's not good enough.
Number 20.
It's not good enough. So you might talk yourself out of needing Raheem Mostert. You know you need him. Don't create a divorce that doesn't need to happen. It's so easily fixable. So that's a really interesting historical context. The running backs, the importance of the running backs in 49ers history, because everyone always focuses on the quarterback. But those running backs really determined how far the Niners went in the early 90s, mid-90s.
Yeah. And
man, I got to bounce soon, though. But let's do 5 more minutes.
Yeah, most definitely. I just feel like something eventually will work out. I don't think he's going to get any more money. I don't think nobody's going to get any more money until George Kittle gets his contract.
Even Lynch.
Yeah, oh my God, you have to say that one, bro.
Even Lynch. And it seems like there's no more money getting given out. If Lynch and Kittle have to wait, then probably Mostert has to wait too.
Hell yeah, bro. And like I said, man, all of those free agents, the draft is going to be stacked again with running backs and tight ends. It's just a lot of stuff that's happening, bro. And I just hope that it all gets figured out, bro. I know you got stuff to tend to, bro. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Hopefully there's some practices soon and we can start talking about stuff that's really happening, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, most definitely, bro. I'll text you later on.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bro.
All right.
Later. Yeah, man. So, man, like we were saying, man, George Kittle, he's going to end up getting his money. It's just not going to happen when any of us think it's going to happen. We're not going to hear anything about it. There's not going to be any leaks. It's against the best interest of George Kittle's camp. It's against the best interest of the 49ers. And it's just not going to happen when we want it to happen. But ultimately, I think it'll happen. I think that as fans, man, we just might want to just chill out and relax and just let stuff play out naturally. I wanted to show you guys again. Thanks. Shout out to Regulins He is a supporter of ours. This just got here. It is certified, you guys. That's the birth certificate. And this is our all-time sack leader. You know who it is. It is signed by Bryant Young. You guys, if you're watching, man, subscribe. That's the only way that you could win this. You can't just come on and watch and be a participant in this drawing. Like, you have to subscribe. We're taking a log. Well, should I say Bronze is taking a log of all of the subscribers. And when we reach 1,000, which we're getting pretty close, when we reach 1,000, we're going to have a show to celebrate those 1,000 subscribers. It will be a fan interaction show. The last one we tried to do, we didn't get too much interaction from the fans, so we just canceled it. But when that happens, we will have a fan interaction show, a fan appreciation day, and somebody is going to win that signed Bryant Young. And believe me, I want to keep it for myself, but this is all for the cause. We appreciate everybody who has been here rocking with us. We have another show coming up, and it will probably be with Stephanie McCarroll. She is a 49ers writer. She is the co-host of Fangirl Sports. She's a California alumni, super cool, from the Bay Area. And I think that might be, our next guest that comes on, man. With that being said, let's just take a chill pill. Let's woosah. Let's relax. I don't think George Kittle's going to go anywhere, right? Anything can happen, but George Kittle's not DeForest Buckner. Two totally different people. One has a lot more impact than the other. With that being said, man, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Niners all day. We'll be posting the next show banner probably within the next couple of hours or by tomorrow. And we will be with you guys later on this week, man. Shout out to my brothers at Nothing But Niners. Shout out to Rombo. Shout out to Grant Cohn. Shout out to everybody, man, who helps us make this thing happen. And shout out to Jason Aponte. That breakdown was huge. I never knew that our content would make it to somebody who actually plays for the 49ers. That was huge. And shout out to my brother Bronze. We love and appreciate you guys. And we hope to see you guys later on this week. All right. Peace out.